Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Gwe. Downstairs, we have a basement here. We have a hall in our downstairs. A scouting troop is in, so the Beavers. The Beavers are 6 and 7-year-olds. So you can imagine the noise that's all around me. But they're having a great time downstairs, and I'm grateful that they can find this space to be warm and welcoming. Anyway, today, this is the first time in a long time, but I'm going to try to offer you this Sunday's sermon. What I'm going to talk about to the congregation. It'll probably be a little bit different, but it'll be along these lines. We're going to talk about the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4. In particular, verse 1, right? Jesus is out in the wilderness. He's hungry, he's thirsty, he's suffering. And while he's in this state of depletion, while he is in this weakened condition, the devil arrives to tempt him. Tempts him by asking him, hey, why don't you turn these rocks into bread? Hey, why don't you throw yourself off this building? The angels will catch you. Hey, why don't you bow down and worship me and I'll give you all these kingdoms that you see? Jesus stands up to those temptations, all of them. And in the end, get away from me. He tells the devil to get away from me. And then it says the angels came and tended to him. This is the beginning of his ministry. This is right around the very beginning of his ministry. He goes out into the wilderness to prepare himself for what's to come. It's actually an ancient tradition. The Norse did it. The Romans did it. Celts did it. Gauls did it. Everybody did it. When you knew you were about to go through something strenuous, when you knew you were about to go through something challenging, something demanding, something that was going to cause you pain, people would often get into the woods, get into the wilderness, condition themselves for the battles to come, for the war, for the trek, for the journey, for the demands that were about to be, for the demands that were coming. We still do it. I do it. I go out to the woods. Haven't done it in a long time, but I'm going soon. I think I'm going soon. Get out there. Get out there in a place where you can experience some semblance of danger, some semblance of being unsafe. A place where you can challenge yourself to survive. Now, in our day and age, we know that the Coast Guard's just a phone call away. The emergency vehicles are just a 911 call away, but being out in the wilderness does give us that sense, that feeling. And besides that, it allows us to get back to what is good and natural and what is soul feeding. Right? We shed away all the things that bring us comfort, that may help us make us feel nice and toasty and warm, that make us feel safe. And we let that stuff go in order to embrace the danger of our wilderness. We do these things by choice often. And when we do them by choice, we do them for a reason, and we can learn, and we can grow, and we can feel really good about ourselves when we do actually make it back to the house. But that's not the only time we experience the wilderness. Sometimes the wilderness is absolutely thrust upon us. As a matter of fact, sometimes the wilderness is dropped on us over and over and over and over and over again. Sometimes the wilderness is dropped on us so often, so frequently, and to such an extent that we do not even believe we can survive. Right? These moments of historical significance keep happening. These world events that require our attention keep happening. And we feel hungry, and we feel thirsty, and we don't feel like there's any shelter from the sun. And we don't feel like there's any shelter from the wind and from the rain. We do not feel like there's a place where we can go to get warm, to get out of the cold. doesn't feel like there's any way to escape. It doesn't feel like there's any direction we can move that'll take us home. That'll take us back to civilization. I mean, shoot, sometimes it's civilization that makes us feel this way. The only thing we can do in these moments, when the wilderness is thrust upon us, the only thing we can do is redeem them. Redeem the moments, redeem the experiences. I'm not going to say to turn them into something beautiful, to turn them into something wonderful. I'm going to say we can choose, because that's really all we have left in those moments, is the ability to choose. We can choose to say, I'm going to take something out of this moment. We can choose to change how we perceive the moment. That it's not something that is merely thrust upon us, but rather it is something that, come hell or high water, we are going to use for our advantage. We are going to use for our benefit. We are going to use for our growth. We're going to use for our understanding. That when this is all over, we will be a better person. Not in spite of it, not even because of it, but because we have taken it and we've chosen to flip it and to see it as something else. To see it as a classroom. To see it as a university course. To see it as hands-on training. Lots of stuff gets thrown at us. And when it does, it doesn't feel like there's a way out. It doesn't feel like there's a path that we should, any one particular path that we should take. We find it hard to think. We find it hard to breathe. But the one thing we have left is our ability to choose how we perceive the moment. It's not easy. It doesn't come naturally. It requires us to breathe even though it doesn't feel like we can take any air into our lungs. It requires us to take a step forward even though it doesn't feel like we can move with this burden. But if we can breathe, if we can take a step, if we can look around and begin to understand all the various things that are happening, then we can say to ourselves, I choose. I choose to redeem this moment. I choose to find something of value in this moment. I choose to make it my mission in this moment. Not necessarily to escape, not necessarily to eat or to drink or to find shelter, but I choose in this moment to find something of value. That's my mission right now. Sometimes that's all we have. And sometimes that's good enough to see us through. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that you'll choose to have your wilderness moments, that you'll choose to get out there, to get back to the land. Allow it to feed your soul. But if those wilderness moments are thrust upon us, then I pray we'll be able to find purpose and mission in them. That we will be able to redeem them into an experience that does have some kind of value for us. In doing so, we can be victorious. Amen. Nemultus.